Hey, what's going on, guys? Appreciate you stopping by. As always, I'm out here at a local place that sells a bunch of sheds. These are premium, really well made sheds. Not cheap, not inexpensive at all. But it was nearby, so I decided to come here. And what I wanted to talk a little bit about is, I guess, alternative ways of having a retreat. In the survival and preparedness community, there's a lot of discussions about bugging out. They talk about, having a retreat that's up in the mountains or out in the country, some remote piece of property. And for most people, it's fantasy because they can't afford to go out and buy, a bunch of land. They can't afford to go out and buy a house to put on that property. So, one concept and one idea that some people have done, I looked into it years ago. I tried to make it happen and it didn't work out in the community that I was trying to go to. I'll get into why that was. Is buying a shed and putting it on a piece of property and setting it up to be as self-reliant and self-sufficient as it can be. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. But sheds, if you go buy them, no, they're not cheap. You can find them all different prices. You can hire people, maybe somebody that has the carpenter experience and the skill set to go ahead and build it for you, or you can build it yourself. A few years ago, I wouldn't have even thought about building one myself, but now, because I've learned a lot about carpentry, and believe me, I don't know really anything, but I know enough that I could build a box and I could put a roof on it and I can make it so it doesn't leak. That provides a potential solution to a problem, which is, how do I have a retreat that's off grid, it's out in the country, it's away from where I normally reside, and how can I do it as inexpensively as possible? And an off-grid retreat using a shed is one of those possibilities. Behind me right here, this is an 8x10. Now, I will tell you, this particular model is almost $5,000. To build it would be a fraction of that if you did the work yourself. So again, there's a lot of different options. You can get some friends together, throw up one of these over a weekend, if you have people that know how to do it. So I'm not going to be overly focused on the money and the financial aspect. I'm really more focused on the potential of what you can do, because everybody's situation is different. But this is a small one. 8x10 is fairly small. You could put a couple cots in there, a couple of bunk beds. This particular one has a loft up above. You could set up to where you could insulate it and put plywood up on the walls. You could insulate the ceiling. You could put solar on the roof, and you could create a little ecosystem, a little survival ecosystem for you and yours for a couple of people. If you got more than 3 people in there, it's going to get pretty crowded. You'd want to spend most of your time outdoors. And if your climate affords that, then great. You could have a little area to cook in there. You could even have maybe a small TV to get some entertainment, some news if you use an antenna on the outside. But there's not going to be any storage space in there whatsoever, so then you would need to do something on the outside. You would almost need another shed in order to do something like that. Now, I remember there was a book series. I highly recommend it if you haven't read it. And it's called 299 Days. And it's a great book series. And I'm not going to give away a lot, but in the book series, the main character ends up getting a cabin that's kind of away from the city, and there's a shed there, and he fills the shed with food, and all kinds of supplies. A lot of pancake mix, by the way. Pancake mix. Just add water. Very important. So if you read the book, you know what I'm talking about. And that, again, you could build a shed or have it built, whatever. And then you could have a smaller one also on site that you could keep a lot of your supplies in and make it, very, very tight, because you want to keep rodents and different creatures out of there. So this is, again, this is an option. So let me take a couple pictures and I'll show you what could be done in here. Now these ones back here are a lot more expensive and much nicer. And again, you could have somebody build one of these for you. You could go buy it already complete. These places here, they bring it right in, put it right on your property. Or you could build it yourself and maybe make it a summer project. You absolutely could do that. So again, that's up to you. But they're a lot more expensive, but much nicer, as you could see. I mean, that would look beautiful on the side of a mountain, nestled back off the road in some woods. I mean, a lot of possibilities there. Everything I said about the other shed, you could do here. And it would have some storage, at least a little bit of storage space. But if you're talking about an off-grid retreat, that if something significant, if something serious happened and you needed to bug out and go there, maybe to never return, you're going to need a lot of storage. So that's where, getting a bigger one is great, but also having secondary storage on the property, maybe in another smaller shed, will work out. They even sell on Amazon. They sell some metal sheds and some other materials. They're not wood, but it's not metal either, that could absolutely work for you, and they're pretty inexpensive. For $1,000, you could get something pretty nice that you could have near this one, or any of them, and store your supplies in. So I want to go into this one and show you, I'll take a couple pictures and show you what could be done with a model such as this. Let's take a look.
I woke up every morning to a siren and a scream. Another debt collector selling someone else's dream.
So this particular one, this green one behind me, it is 10 by 16. That's good size. 10 by 16. And you can see it's got the double doors on the side, which would be nice depending upon where it's at. If it was really nice weather out and you wanted to open up the doors and get sunshine in, some fresh air. But this is an option, and they make these so that you could have a single door on the end or on the sides. You can get it a bunch of different ways. So let's take a look inside. So this is the 10 by 16. And again, it's not huge. And the more, the bigger you get, the more expensive it's going to be. This comes with the window in the back. I don't know what the price is on this one. Again, there's a lot of different ways that you can accomplish to get something like this, but there is a lot of possibilities for this thing. To set up a retreat somewhere, and you can imagine, having a bed over there, or bunk beds, a table. Maybe you've got a TV up there with an HD antenna for getting news. You got a table over here, ham radio, CB radio. You got antennas up on the roof. You got solar on the roof. You got a power strip over here and a power strip down there for charging things. Your battery bank is either in a box here, maybe outside, depending upon your climate. You got shelves on the wall for supplies. And again, you would insulate this if you're going to stay in it. If you got solar, if you have a generator, you could have an air conditioner in a window. You know, for those times that maybe you're just vacation, you're just getting away from it all, and you're just going to come spend some time. You could have a ceiling fan. I mean, they got ceiling fans now that run on 5 volts, USB powered. They're small, but a lot that could be done.
On a 6-lane road of pain, chasing bigger houses while the soul goes down the drain. The schools kept teaching children what to think and what to say.
What are your thoughts on this? I'm just curious. Is this a crazy idea? Or is this something you would consider doing? You know, if you got the resources. Like I said, I tried it a long time ago, and let me tell you what ended up happening in my case. I found a piece of land. I had some cash, and I was looking at what I was going to put on there, like a shed. And here's one of the biggest obstacles. The county that I lived in did not allow such a thing to be done. It was very frustrating. They had ordinances where you could not put a shed on a piece of property unless there was another house there. So back then, maybe I could have got away with it. I could have bought the land, could have put a shed on there, and got away with it. But today, they use satellite imagery. They use drones. The tax offices in a lot of places, they search and scour property, looking for people that did building projects and didn't get a permit, because that permit is money for the city or the county. So this might be a great idea, but you have to find the right place to do it. And there's a lot of states out there that aren't as free as you might think if you go to try to do something like this. You know, it's like tiny homes, very similar. It can be very difficult to find a place to put that tiny home. So now another option, I'm talking about sheds, but another option would be a camper. Maybe we'll look at that another day. But anyways, yeah, I just thought I'd throw this idea out there. It's definitely doable in the right place with somebody that has the resources as well as maybe the skills to do it themselves. And it could be fun project. So what are your thoughts? Comment below, let me know. So that's it. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Hit that like button, consider subscribing if you haven't. And we'll see you in the next one.
So I ran from the cities and the noise and lies, found a piece of ground under open skies, hands in the dirt, sweat on my shirt, learning what living's really worth. While crooked men shake hands in rooms, selling souls to corporate suits. Society's sick, but I found the cure. A back road life, honest and pure. They can keep their throne and their golden news. This life out here's my modern exodus. I traded screens for a sunrise, callous palms, blisters, pride, planted seeds where hope was.